so good to be here. Of course, you're watching Leadership TV, and this is Inside Nigeria, where we dissect the trending stories on our select national dailies. I'm Cynthia Onwad, and so much is happening in the country right now. We have threats of military invasion. We have the inner ruckus within the People's Democratic Party. But of course, let's begin today's newspaper headlines by analyzing Leadership newspaper first. Let's begin with the top headline here that says Nigeria initiates diplomatic talks with U.S. following Trump's threats. That's on page 4. We're responding to genuine concern raised by a genuine concerns raised, says the minister. And also in the news, we see People's Democratic Party devil using members, says Damagum. Party members protest at U.S. Embassy. Well, the trouble doesn't seem to end. But let's move on now. Also, we see a picture here with our Senior Director of Leadership Group Marketing, also our Senior Vice Chairman. We have the Zamfara State Governor, Vice Chairman also, and the Group Managing Director, also a Director Leadership Group, Abraham Ndazaya, of course, doing a presentation of a Leadership Award nomination letter to the Zamfara State Governor in the person of also the Zamfara State Governor, person of Dauda Lawal. Okay, still on politics now. Anambra poll, 55,000 security personnel deployed. INEC distributes sensitive materials ahead of the governorship elections tomorrow. We're bringing you all of that update here on Leadership TV, so you want to stay tuned. Also, federal government secures $396 million for internally displaced persons, Sokoto Health Project. Also, Nigeria loses $56 billion annually to malnutrition, says the Vice President Kashim Shettima. And on sports, above the masthead controversy as FIFA appoints a South African referee for Nigeria Gabon World Cup playoffs. All right, to know why that is bringing up controversy, you want to pick up a copy of Leadership newspaper on our page 29 to get more details on that. Well, let's move on now to our editorial, which is called A Stand. Today, Leadership writes on the Anambra election beyond security deployment. Also, our back page here, of course, with the conversations with Azu. It looks like thinking, or rather, it looks at thinking about midlife. And also, we see an excerpt from his book, or rather, a copy of his new book, A Midlifer's Guide to Content Creation and Profit. Okay, still Leadership newspaper today, Friday, 7th November 2025. Down below, we look at our Ghana Must Go cartoon, which always seems to make us laugh. It looks at PDP takes protest to U.S. Embassy, begs Trump for help. That's in the news. And down below, we ask, they want asylum? Because he begs to ask why we are going to the U.S. president to solve issues within the Nigerian political space. What exactly are you looking for? Solution to the problem? Or are you, masquerading or hiding under the umbrella of that to try to find something else? Well, you can pick up a copy of Leadership newspaper today to get the juicy details on all the trending stories. Let's move on now from Leadership to THISDAY newspaper. The major headline here looks at U.S. weighs military options as Tinubu restates resolve to defeat terrorism. Also, we see a pictorial of our Vice President Kashim Shettima and the Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, okay, during the opening ceremony of COP30 holding right now in Belém, Brazil. Also, above the masthead, all set for Anambra elections as Tinubu, or rather Soludo, 15 other candidates battle for governorship. Also on THISDAY newspaper, we see the federal government moves to unveil next phase of reforms to celebrate $1 trillion economy target. All right, that's all on THISDAY newspaper. Let's take a look at Daily Independent. Daily Independent here, the major headline says, will overcome Trump's CPC designation, Tinubu assures. All right, in a speech yesterday, President Tinubu reassured Nigerians on having, solutions to the military, or rather the threats from President Donald Trump of US, and designating Nigeria as a country of particular interest when it comes to terrorism and alleged genocide of the Christian population. Still on Daily Independent, we see Senate asks NAFDAC to ban sachet alcohol by December. Okay, let's see if that would have any output. Why prices of food items are on the decline, says minister. All right, that's on the top of Daily Independent. Also, we see here FEC bans sale of fan properties to private individuals. Karma is real. Demagom tells Anyanwu Wiki others. Okay. Still on Daily Independent, we have planted reforms that are sprouting in energy jobs, says the presidency. Southern Nigerian monarch appoint Governor Uzodinma as their coordinator. All right, that's also in the news on page 7 of Daily Independent. EU deploys 687 election observers to Anambra. Also, reps decry mass exit of lecturers from universities. Down below the Daily Independent, UBA empowers Africa's digital entrepreneurs with insightful business series. Also, we see a picture of President Bola Tinubu congratulating Kingsley Tochukwu, the former Attorney General Commissioner of Justice in Enugu State, who is now the Minister the Minister of Technology and Science. All right, moving on now from the Daily Independent, let us check out Vanguard newspaper. The major headline here looks at alleged Christian genocide. U.S. Congress targets Miyetti Allah for visa bans, assets freezes. Okay, we also see Anambra Showdown 2025. Also anxiety as Soludo, 2 women, 13 others test might tomorrow. Okay, it's going to be an eventful day tomorrow in Anambra State. The governorship elections are taking place, and we can't wait to see how that ends. Mba Fubara Abiodun worry over deplorable state of police training college. Also, economy records strong growth, says the coordinating minister of economy, Wali Edun. Also, Vanguard newspaper looks at PDP crisis, Damagum tightens grip as state chairman disown rival leadership. Down below on the front page, we also see false declaration of assets, tackle backlogs of cases, CJN tells tribunal. Also, FEC approves 43 billion naira for Lagos Ibadan Highway, East-West Road, others. All right. And on sports, there's exciting news as the European Champions League sees Osimhen overtaking Haaland, Kane, Mbappe as Europe's #1 striker. That's big news for Nigeria and Victor Osimhen. All right, moving on now from Vanguard, let's check out the Punch. The major headline still looks at Trump threats. Tinubu rallies foreign allies as North rejects Sharia ban. FG vows to crush terror networks. NEF, ACF reject US move to outlaw Sharia. That's in the news, page 2 of the Punch. Also, APC Wike blasts PDP over US embassy protest. Okay, still on the Punch newspaper, we also see right here vehicle import slide 10% on weak consumer spending. Also, Anambra poll, we see the picture of INEC, of course, preparing for the election. And the headline here says, INEC distributes sensitive materials, 55,000 policemen mobilized. On entertainment, Pretty Mike gets 50 million naira bail for alleged drug offense. Newly inaugurated Tinubu campaign office demolished in Benue State. Okay, FEC okays biometric flight boarding, PH airport concession. Federal government rolls out new plans to tackle food shortage. And finally, on the Punch, Abuja Disco sacks 800 workers amid power crisis. That's on page 24. Okay, let's move on now from the Punch. Let's check out Daily Sun. Daily Sun, the major headline on Daily Sun says, Tinubu to Trump, we will defeat terrorism. says government determined to build prosperous, inclusive, and resilient Nigeria. We've opened diplomatic channels of communication with U.S., says the federal government, and also U.S. proposes airstrike plans for Nigeria. All right, still on the Daily Sun, market panic deepens as stock lose 2.5 trillion naira in 4 days. That's on business. PDP convention. Makinde Damagum rally state chairman. Don't forget karma is real. Shaman tells Anyango others. All right, still on Daily Sun, Governor Mba Tinubu on mission to restore dignity, excellence of police, security agents. Okay. Separating AGF from Minister of Justice won't stop politicization of office, Dr. Uday says, who is the new Minister of Science and Technology. Okay, Abia Akwa Ibom partner to link states with railway. Still on Daily Sun, health workers issue 2 weeks nationwide strike notice. All right, let's move on now from Daily Sun and finally check out the Nigerian Tribune. The major headline on the Nigerian Tribune says Tinubu vows defeat of terrorism as U.S. military drafts action plans. Okay, also above the masthead, we see 2027 APC plots control of Northeast. Taraba governor may defect on November 19 as he opens discussions with Adamawa governor. Well, let's wait till November 19 to see what this brings. Also on page 11 of Nigerian Tribune, economy rebounding, inflation easing, says finance minister. PDP crisis, state party chairman back Damagum's National Working Committee. Oyo approves reconstruction of Ido Akufo Eruwa Igboho Kishi roads. Down below the masthead of Nigerian Tribune, Anambra Poll Amupiton faces first test tomorrow. Of course, he's the new INEC chairman. Let us see what he's able to achieve using the Anambra State governorship elections of tomorrow as a case study. Well, on health, we look at combining vaping and smoking increases risk of prediabetes by 28%, says a study. All right, we also see pictorial health president Bola Tinubu with the new Minister of Science and Technology, Kingsley Tochukwu Uday, during a state visit to the presidential villa, Abuja, yesterday. Well, that sums up the Inside Nigeria today. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to comment on any of the trending newspaper headlines, please do well to do that on any of our social media platforms, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and here also on YouTube. We'd love to hear from you. I'm still Cynthia Onado. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.